The auto logistics marketplace began its journey from analog communication to digital transformation roughly 10 years ago. Today, there are so many new car shipping tech solutions, many users can't tell the difference between providers. Mark Groteke, CEO of SuperFlo Systems, has witnessed the transformation. Tonight, we're going to talk about the auto logistics marketplace. So please say hello in the live chat, make new friends, and learn from the best on ATI Auto Business. Oh, shoot. Hey, what's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business, Automotive Ecosystem. I have been putting this show together, figuring out exactly what I wanted to do, and I'm running late. So, this is Automotive Ecosystem, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. So please feel free to jump in with questions and comments. And we're going to do some headline news: fraud, forgery, hacking, and stolen cars. CDK Global lawsuits and losses, and how many thousand CDL downgrades. That's some weird news that came in from somebody. Well, shout out to Rich for sending that in. This is show 355 in a row on a Tuesday night, and this was tough to figure out how to put my arms around this topic. I wrote, where are we going? We're going to talk more about where we've been to understand what we're looking at now and maybe where we're going. It's going to be hard to decipher. But Mark Groteke, my sidekick tonight, you know Mark, he's always in the live chat. He created Dispatch Center, SuperFlo Systems. If you want to know about auto logistics technology, where it's been, where it is now, and maybe where it's headed, Mark has a good handle on things. That's why it's going to be a really interesting show tonight. And it's almost like it could be like a phone call, except it's a live show. Something like that. He's got Transport Auto Quoter, which I point that out. And in fact, Alexa open Quotify. Mark, this is 4 years ago. 4 years ago we did this promo. When I did Auto Transport Software Update Q4 2019, load board, mobile app, TMS, CRM, and you've got number 5, Auto Quoter. Part of it was to try to explain these parts of technology that I think of carriers when I talk about technology the most, in that I don't think at that time they really understood the different parts. I mean, how would they? And they're being faced with, okay, you have this mobile app and you do these things. I think that things have changed a lot since 2019. And now, instead of just focusing on logistics and tech, yes, I tell you, I want to help you know your ecosystem, from new dealer auction into logistics, into all the changes, remarketing, recon, compliance, and tech. That is the ecosystem as I see it. I talk about it on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Central Time. Last Tuesday night, I had Jonathan Shaw, president of Hemmings, and what was neat about this classic car marketplace show is there was kind of a spike in interest, which was great. So, what's my takeaway? That maybe I can drift off into more niches within the broader ecosystem and see good things come out of it. So I'm going to be doing that. That's pretty cool. So on Thursdays, Industry Logistics, which is really a very different show than Tuesday nights. We had Kaylee, the parts girl. We were talking about fixed ops, dealer service. Fixed ops is something that we hear about a lot on LinkedIn, but in logistics, how often do we talk about fixed ops? But the comparison between what the parts department goes through in dealer service and what we go through in logistics, there's a lot of similarities. This Thursday, it's in process, top 20 load boards. I've got 18. If there's a couple that I'm missing, if there's something we need to know, we're looking not only at load boards with loads and other criteria. I mean, what makes a load board a top load board, where to find it, and how long it takes to get signed up as a new carrier, because there are more new carriers than, I don't know if than ever before, but if there's always an influx of new carriers and then carriers exiting, there's always a need for education. So it's something to keep in mind. On ATI, that's one of the things that we try to do. All right, here we go. Let's do some news. Oh, we're 8 minutes in. You know what? Mark, hang tight. Central Dispatch fraud alert. Okay, this is on the homepage of Central Dispatch now. Now, as we talk about change, this is new. The information of fraud alerts has finally reached a boiling point. It was being talked about last year. It is now everywhere, obviously. I barely even need to explain what I'm talking about. I talked about stolen cars because somebody hacked into the dispatch system and made some phone calls. They have been recovered, so the hackers got hacked. It is now on LinkedIn. This is, I think at first, and probably still to some folks, like, oh no, what do you mean? What is this negative information on LinkedIn? Well, sorry, there are scammers, and it's now to the point, where you've got to just take it into your own hands. Somebody sent me an email about a fraudulent certificate of insurance forged to get the load. Wow. That's happening. This is all happening. Here we go. Police. 2 men wanted for stealing car hauling trailer with vintage cars. Police said the men are accused of taking a car hauling trailer that was connected to a white 2017 Dodge Ram on Atlantic Avenue near Berryman Street on June 25th. The trailer contained 3 unoccupied vintage cars, a 55 Chrysler, a 66 Mustang, and a 68 Chevy Camaro. So they cased the joint. They knew what they wanted. The suspects used a white SUV to drive away with the truck and trailer. Amazing. So let's jump into CDK. Dealerships lost $1.02 billion in business after the CDK cyber attack. Anderson Economic Group estimated dealerships lost 56,200 new vehicle sales and $1.2 billion between June 19th and July 15th because of the CDK global cyber attacks and subsequent software outages. CDK ransom money goes through extensive money laundering schemes before reaching the hackers. Apparently, CDK Global likely paid a hacker group around $25 million, which seems like a drop in the bucket. That sounds like a good deal to address the cyber attacks that led to significant software outages across the car dealer industry. On June 21st, approximately 387 Bitcoin were sent to an address assessed by TRM Labs to be controlled by the ransomware group Black Suit, according to a statement from TRM Labs. That amount of cryptocurrency was worth $24.8 million at market close on June 21st. TRM Labs marketing wrote in an email that the company wasn't able to identify who made the payment, only the on-chain activity and the links to Black Suit ransomware group, so it's assumed. So what to know about dealer, consumer, employee CDK lawsuits? You knew the lawsuits were coming. First, you see lots of support. We support. We're in this together. And then it's the lawsuits. Consumers, dealerships, current, former auto retail employees have filed 10 cyber attack related federal lawsuits against CDK. Accusations include negligence, unjust enrichment, form of contract breach, breach of fiduciary duty. CDK has not yet filed responses to any litigation. As of July 11th, a variety of plaintiffs claim to have been harmed by CDK. They include 14 consumers have sued CDK across 4 cases, though one lawsuit contains 10 of them, citing the alleged threat to the personal information they gave CDK. Dealerships, all of those lawsuits seek class action status, which apparently has benefits. 3 people calling themselves current employees of Finlay Auto Group, Asbury Automotive Group, and Northwest Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and 1 man calling himself a former staffer of an unspecified Marin County location. Boy, these are pretty specific. have sued CDK in 4 individual actions. They allege the breach threatened information they provided for their jobs. Dealerships. 2 pieces of litigation involved dealerships. In one, Fowler Buick GMC in Mississippi sued the software vendor, sought class action status for any U.S. CDK clients who were affected by an interruption of service because of a ransomware attack. Unable to conduct regular business, causing significant business interruption and lost revenues. And can you claim damages? That's where the lawsuit hinges. Claiming damages. JK Collision Center, an independent Illinois shop, said the cyber attacks against CDK made it difficult to order parts and do business. See, made it difficult. But did you suffer damages? K asked the court to create a class out of anyone in the U.S. who used or relied on defendant services were injured as a result of the data breach. And maybe damages is the reason they want class action. The good news continues. Hyundai pushed fake EV sales reporting scheme, a lawsuit claims. Hyundai said it does not condone any intentional falsification of sales reporting data and has launched an immediate investigation. I demand an investigation. Lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court, Northern District, Illinois, and Chicago alleges that Hyundai sales executives in the automaker's central region offered dealers allocations of high-volume vehicles and incentives if they agreed to code unsold EV inventory as part of their loaner fleet. Dealers who refused to comply were denied allocation of high-demand vehicles, as alleged, according to the complaint. There it is. The lawsuit also claims that non-compliant dealers would not be rewarded manufacturer coupons called Flex Cash that retailers could use to discount in-demand vehicles. Plaintiffs can claim that the consequence of not participating in the alleged scheme costs non-participating dealer sales revenue profits. Also claims that limiting choices of and incentives practice harmed consumers. You're always going to have 2 camps. Camps that say that didn't happen, camps that say must have happened. UAW President Sean Fain accused of seeking benefits for fiancé. We got anything but legal problems tonight, Jay? The new details are revealed in filing related to an investigation by the UAW's court-appointed monitor into Fain's decision to strip key assignments from 2 top lieutenants. My gosh. Next. 171,000 drivers face looming commercial license downgrades in November. What? According to a report recently released by FMCSA, a total of 171,000 CDL and CLP permit holders are listed in prohibited status, according to the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. Oh, great. So you got all drivers with at least 1 violation. Wow, near 250,000. CDL holders in prohibited status greatly outweighs CDL holders in not prohibited status. So the war on drugs is going well. If those CDL holders fail to complete the return to duty process, they risk license downgrades. November 18th is hammer time. And of those prohibited status, 130,000 have not yet begun their return to duty process, which is not the flip of a switch. Wow. In other news, overall wholesale auction volumes rise through June. And a 29% spike in commercial consignor sales pushes overall year-to-date auction volume increase. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Good to know. And I did see a report that Manheim is saying that affordable vehicles are coming soon in wholesale. So we'll look for that too. The news of the day, and this gets us into Auto Logistics Marketplace. I told you we'd get there. Ship.Cars launches real-time tracking feature for vehicle shipments. Now, one might say, did that not exist yet? Ship.Cars launches real-time tracking feature for vehicle shipments. The auto logistics technology provider announced the addition of a real-time tracking status link feature designed to give end customers updates on their vehicle shipments from dispatch to delivery. Maybe that link is new. With 24 access to shipment status and locations. 24/7. The company said the new feature, typically only available from last mile delivery services in the retail sector, aims to solve disruptions caused by lack of visibility, miscommunication, and bridge the gap between brokers, carriers, and customers. Definitely relying on a phone call, that's got to stop. This feature will provide real-time status updates and access to all related inspection and delivery documentation, also a plus if you can see the documents right after they've been created. Allowing car shipping customer to monitor their orders and shippers to reduce customer inquiries, limit negative feedback, and improve customer service. Ship.Cars said its real-time tracking feature is accessible from any device and includes order documentation such as vehicle inspection documents, as well as offering transparency while protecting sensitive information. That is going to be the next one, isn't it? The company added there's more to come. It plans to integrate a generative AI chatbot into the tracking page to provide 24/7 customer support with the ability to answer a wide range of questions. And there it is. There is the AI. All right. So as we move into tonight's discussion, let's look at, I did this by order of companies that are also in the order of the ranking of the load boards. Central Dispatch next month is going to be talking more about their private marketplace, API integrations, all new app for carriers on ATI, as well as everywhere else. And this is a big moment. Now, I don't know who does realize or doesn't realize or cares that Central Dispatch has not had a mobile app in the marketplace for carriers to use to pick up and deliver loads, and therefore for shippers to see real time. We just talked about Ship.Cars, what is happening with the load. Central Dispatch did not have that mobile app. That's changing. That's huge news. So what else is happening in the auto logistics marketplace? Super Dispatch. They're talking about difference between TMS and CRM, so they're engaging in education. Assertis is talking about educating and guiding their dealer clients, whereas I believe this is carrier-focused education. You got dealer shipper education. And there's more, but these are snapshots of what companies are working on. ACV's, again, working on dealer education, and they're doing a lot of TV. I'm noticing it. It's interesting. It's an interesting move. ACV, the channel. United Road continues to focus on carriers a lot. Haven't heard a lot about Hawley. Looking for an update about the Hawley software. Run Buggy puts out a lot of talk about how they're signing up more dealers. Again, so we're seeing dealer technology growth. AutoSled still working on their technology. They've got some more announcements coming as they grow. Auto Hauler Exchange working on connecting the community, carriers, shippers, and removing some brokers, which I think is a great angle. It's different, and difference is required. Pre-owned Auto Logistics is a asset-light carrier company focused on educating customers about shipping their cars. We talk about POV, private individual moves, and there's all kinds of different types of moves. Corporate relocation, dealer trade. RPM is talking about how they're growing their team. They've got a podcast, they've got a blog. MessagePlane, what's MessagePlane? MessagePlane is a CRM, promoting it on LinkedIn. HopDrive is not an auto logistics tech company per se, but working with auto logistics tech companies to provide services. And this is where as we see the ecosystem expand, I always remind folks, ATI, we're in the middle. We're third party, not owned by any one company. That is actually the benefit of tuning in. ATI is where everyone learns more about how the automotive industry works without any one side getting the narrative week after week. Now, Why is Simon Cowell duct taped in this image? And the answer is, I had a phone call recently that I learned I'm not alone in thinking that, you know, it's hard to make sense out of what we see, what we hear, what we know, and what we experience. There is a lot of narrative that doesn't reflect reality, constantly being pumped out of the television. And I don't mean just the TV. I mean the social media that we rely on for information, for networking, and for business. It's a strange thing. And I talked to somebody at a company that literally was so wound up about it that they just can't even really do a show right now. And I thought that spoke volumes about what's happening in the marketplace. There is something strange. Here I'm going to show you a video that will, I think, help explain. Jay, what are you talking about? Okay. I think that the sound is... Oh, wait. Here we go. Hang on. Check. Okay.
Going to California, 30,000 pounds. Now look at this old dumbass shit right here picking up in Florida, going to California, 30,000 pounds, 3,000 miles for 4,200. You going way to California for a motherfucking $1.36 a mile. That's crazy as a motherfucker. Let's look at this old dumbass load, see what you gonna make off of it if you was to run this stupid shit. Operating costs for this load gonna cost you $1,400. Fuel costs $1,800. Look at your profit, $884. You gonna run across some toes, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how much you gonna run across, but you gonna run across some. I don't think this load worth it on the real. I wouldn't go way to California for no 4,200. That's too many hills and mountains to be going through for motherfucking 4,200. This load right here is worth at least 9,000, you heard me? 8,500 for sure to go way out there for that old dumbass shit. Let's call him and see if we can get close to that or something. Hey, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing good, sir.
I was calling about this load you had picking up in Florida going to California. Is still available?
Yeah, sir, that one is available. Actually, it's 2 pick, 2 drop. Can you do that?
Oh, it's 2 picks, 2 drops.
Yeah.
That's why y'all paying 4,200, huh?
Yeah, actually, I pushed it for 42, but the best I can do is like 4,300 on this one.
Oh,
can you do that? They are open for Saturday as well.
Oh, so the most you could do is 43. Where all the drops at? Where the picks up? Where all I pick?
That is in Medley.
Gotta drive 3 hours to Tampa, Florida, and pick up the second one, correct?
Yeah, you can pick it up the second one too on Saturday.
And what?
Fontana.
Oh, so both of the drops in California?
It's in Fontana,
Fast forwarding
California.
a little here.
Sorry. So, yeah, like these are.
Hey, you mean to tell me you gonna pay me 4,200, man, to do that, man? God damn.
Yeah, sir, that's the ratio here.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
and
crazy
that guy-
as hell, man. That's the most you could do for me. It's 43.
Yeah, like.
And the guy on the phone with the load, he laughed too. And there's the tell. You know, what the clip I just played, and if you want to see the whole video, I'll send you the link. The clip I just played, you know, there was a time where that driver, that guy has a ton of views. It's on TikTok. And it got sent to me to check out. There was a time where nobody in an office had to worry that that guy's opinion would get out. But that has all changed. And as we move further into this fraudulent, forgery, hacker, stolen vehicle marketplace future, which is here, and social media has ramped up to, you know, where it is literally seconds away at all times. The business practices of yesterday that kind of got swept under the rug and your customers, your potential client didn't know about it, has ended, hasn't it? It has. So, I am glad to say that this is a channel where we're going to point those things out. That is our duty as ATI, Automotive Ecosystem, business channel for the marketplace and the people and the information. That is what we're going to keep doing. I'll tell you what, do me a favor, stick around. Right after this, we're going to continue this conversation. Mark, we're going to bring it down a notch. Where are we going? Join us. We'll be right back.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verifications of loads where nobody ever answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021, or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market, and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the U.S. So you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our Price Watch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
Don't lose any more sleep worrying about missing leads. Get Transport Auto Quoter to quote the right price the first time, every time. Run your business with TAQ. Visit transportautoquoter.com. And here to talk about it. Oh, here we go. Please do help me wish a warm welcome to Mark Groteke. Mark, can you see me and hear me okay?
I can. How am I doing?
You're doing good.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. All right, cool. We'll jump right in. One of the things I can't stand is when if you tune into a webinar, I don't think anybody does this anymore, but people will be like, oh, we'll wait another 5 minutes till everybody gets here. And I'm thinking, well, I'm here. Am I supposed to set my watch to come back in 5 minutes when everybody else gets here? So here we are. No. So, all right. Hey, good job on the thumbnail. Let's go. Let's start with that.
I have my Cincinnati Reds jersey on.
Oh, you do have it on.
Cincinnati Reds, America's team. You know that, right, Jay?
So I can't say I know. Tell me about it.
We beat the Yankees. Took the series, I think, 3 games right in a row. Boom, boom, boom.
So I think there's so many sports. I think sports is like auto shipping tech. So much I can't keep up.
I know.
I shouldn't say that.
And nobody really cares about the sports part of it.
No, you know what? A lot of people care. I was watching some of the soccer.
I actually think that Cincinnati Reds, not the Yankees American team, but a lot of people in a lot of states like the Cincinnati Reds and have grown up with them, listened to them. I think they're America's team. Straight up.
Okay. All right. Noted.
Yeah, noted.
Reds. Okay.
Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati Reds. All right. You know that when let's go back in time. I talked about Q4 2019. You have a load board. You have a mobile app. You have a TMS. You have a CRM. And you have an auto quoter.
Yes.
When did you start making auto logistics tech? Right? It's before I even know, right?
So we actually, way back in the day, had an auto transport business, and we're auto transport carriers and a broker, and we we developed software for that business, and through the evolution of that, developed software that was state of the art. We had a lot of things that were proprietary to us that other people were asking for, and we decided to start marketing that to other auto transport brokers. Very close to the same time that J-Tracker was coming out, and Central Dispatch was getting a pretty good push in the industry.
Okay, so I'm going to estimate like between 2010, 2012-ish.
We had for
The time period you were just describing.
other auto transport brokers and us selling what it was the classic version of Pro ABD back in the day started out as Auto Broker Dispatch, and we started that in 2007.
Wow. All right,
2007.
great. Okay, so, and this is how, I mean, because this is before, I'm putting this together on timeline that I've learned that I didn't start till 2012. By 2012, I was searching lows on Central Dispatch.
Central Dispatch was really strong. I mean, they really had some gain.
So was J-Tracker, right?
Yeah. Yep. J-Tracker as well.
All right. So let's do this. What happened between 2007 and 2012 in that 5 years? Let me ask you this, rather than leaving it open-ended. Were there any car hauling mobile apps? Was Ready Logistics the first one?
I don't know who was first.
Right.
I don't know who was first. I think actually
Cars Arrive?
I don't know. I know
right.
Ready Auto Transport had they were on the move, and they were progressive in the day, and that's why
Exactly.
that's why Dealer Track at the time, I think it was Dealer Track at the time, Central had sold to Dealer Track.
Right.
And
Dealer Track was purchased, or Dealer Track purchased Central Dispatch.
Central Dispatch
Right.
from Wayne Harris. Wayne Harris, the
From a
original
private individual. That's
yep.
right. And then Cox acquired
Dealer Track.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somewhere in that transition, I believe is when Ready Auto Transport, really started gaining some traction, and they were innovative in the day. They were, which is what attracted Cox to them. They were innovative. They were good.
So within this, and I think this is interesting within what we've seen, is that to be innovative, what is it, rather than me stating, as a tech company, to be innovative, how would you describe what it takes to be innovative? Cash, time, team?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
This is part of the problem. I mean, it's really tough. And now, look at what's happened. It's now 2024. Look how much, the reason I went back is, in the past 5 years, I've seen companies grow that, man, in 2019, we barely even heard of. Am I wrong?
Well, I don't know what year did Super Dispatch or Ship.Cars, when did they come around? Super Dispatch has been around a while, and they were,
yes,
I don't think the first with the mobile app, but they were the first ones that were really trying to dent the industry with the technology that they had. And
I think, yes. I'd say Super took what was otherwise just a dumb terminal and turned it into something that served the user.
Do you remember what year Super started?
I don't know.
Yeah,
and I, because it's the one company I'm kind of close to in the past, I don't want to favor them as far as information. But I do think they've captured
early.
They captured the imagination of the carrier as it pertains to the mobile app.
Right.
And that has gone on so long that now
Super's kicking some buttocks, actually, right now. And again,
yes,
gaining some market share.
I think the next 5 years are going to be very interesting.
Well,
I mean, we're about to
because
see.
Number one, you talk about the money part of it. The money part of it, Central's committed 100,000 or 100 million, rather. 100 million.
100 million.
To
and they never had a mobile
Central
app
better.
before. I mean, do you? When I hear that, I see that. I can't wait to see it. This is the killer move. This will either decide that they're taking all the chips back or not.
Well, I don't know really what Central thinks about that. $100 million investment is quite an investment. Proportionate to what is available to Cox Automotive is probably insignificant and not that much, I would think. And
I agree.
Is that enough? Is it enough?
I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know that either.
We'll see what they come out with, and budget-wise, they probably won't disclose.
No.
Maybe you can squeeze that out of them.
Well, I'm not worried about the dollar amount.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is how will it be handled? See. And this gets into, okay, so part of this show, and I showed an image of the guy duct taped. There's something weird happening with information. In fact, Super Dispatch, with what they did with the mobile app, tapped into, it's not just about information. It's about your passion for X. And so I think Central Dispatch needs to tap into the passion. They could spend $1 billion, but if they don't tap into the passion, I don't think it'll matter.
It'd be interesting to see what they come up with.
What's the passion? That's why I played that guy on the phone. Did you hear that?
Oh, the driver who was looking for the load?
Yeah.
That was hilarious, actually.
It is hilarious, and can you imagine, like, if that was your company that posted that load, you would be flipping out that there's a video of a guy calling out
an
your
average
garbage.
guy, a working guy.
This guy exactly.
Trying to
That's it.
get ahead, and he knows
he represents your average driver that knows what he's talking about. That guy knew what he was talking about. He did.
Like he knew his numbers.
He knew enough to know. I was trying to skip ahead. At one point he says, so I can do it for $9,000. Which is more than double what it's listed at.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he found one of the cheapest loads on the board. But
to make his video with, that's
one of the reasons I talk like this. Jay, I always think of the naysayer. Jay, you talk about this load board and all this stuff, and it doesn't matter. Well, as a matter of fact, it does. Because you can impress your client to all heck. But if they find out that their car got posted for cheap money, and some dude makes a TikTok about it, and they find out, it will hurt you. You can't do that. And the thing is, in the past, nobody was ever going to know, right? Brokers could do whatever they wanted.
Yep.
And in the age of fraud, forgery, and CDK and all this stuff, and AI, that is all changing. That's why I said on a phone call to this guy that was worried about what's going on, they said, these private equity firms, they are going to cash out and sell these companies. Because the game, it's not the same. You're not going to be able to make the same crazy margins, and nobody knows what happened.
You know, for brokers, and I don't know how many brokers think about it and that work for dealerships, and I've heard dealerships and have talked to them, that dealerships are posting loads with a broker, and they also have a central dispatch account. So they see what the broker posted their load for, and They're calling them up, taking it back, going, that's not what we want. That's not what we hired you for, to do that kind of business. That is unacceptable. And I know that brokers have lost dealership business because of that type of action. And dealerships it's so hard on a dealership, and the things that brokers, there's a big place for brokers in the industry. And I don't think a lot of people like eliminate the broker. And how easy is that? Dealerships do not want to handle that. The educating the customer on the picking up and delivering, and the schedule, and what the driver has to go through, and why is he in another state and to the left of my state, and all of those things. Dealerships, they need somebody to be in between the customer and themselves, and the broker is a perfect fit for that. And they do a good job, and that's exactly what the brokers are used to doing: educating the consumer, educating people on how the industry works and why they need to pay this price to get the job done. So it's dealerships can get a lot of value out of brokers if the brokers they have an agreement, generally have an agreement on what a margin should be. And I think missing that sometimes puts a lot of strain on the dealership, when the dealership's job is to sell cars.
Okay, so here's what I want to say, is that I agree, and yet that time is passing now. Meaning, we have seen where, does anybody use a travel agent anymore to book a vacation? I know somebody does.
I have a family member who did just
there we go
3 weeks ago. Yes, it happens.
And right. Not the common transaction anymore.
It's not the common transaction, and I don't know how much does the consumer need to be educated about when to go to the airport, to get on a plane, and what to not pack, and those kind of things are common knowledge. And in the auto transport industry, somebody not experienced in transporting an automobile, a dealership certainly is, but the consumer who is receiving that vehicle that the dealership is sending still needs that education. I'm not saying that there's certainly there's a lot of applications that are perfectly acceptable to post on a load board, have a carrier pick it up, request it. You can do a lot of things through the technology. There's still room for a broker. And
I agree.
And people to educate.
Right, and I'm and nobody's going to say, "Man, Jay just killed my business." No, nobody's saying that. But I am talking about, this AI stuff. Do you use AI a little? Right?
At SuperFlo Systems, we have AI, but it's actual intelligence, not artificial. We use actual intelligence, Jay. So,
well, I'm talking about
Brian went through. He went through a list of things. He's like, we've been using AI for forever, and we never called it that. Nobody ever called it that. But a lot of things that we do involve AI, which is termed AI today. So, yes, we do.
So
and we're bringing in more, actually. So
yeah, well,
kind of embracing
which
that.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Yes. What AI can do for logistics, I don't even think we fully know. And the thing is,
I agree with that.
One of the, it's like it's my logic. I don't know. It might be oversimplified. I'm not sure, but I look at when car buyers, what they used to require from dealers, and what they no longer need from dealers, is because of information and their ability to process it quickly, and their passion to research. If auto transport customers adopt this level of information ability to research and process the information, and then they're able to find a service provider that they believe in quickly, rather than, there's these games and phone calls. And will it be AI that finally helps connect some of these dots to change the way people ship cars?
AI is not going away, and it's only that is only people are embracing AI. Even the user are more, they're embracing it. So it is going to do nothing but gain some traction in the industry, all industries, not just auto transport, not just being able to buy an automobile, but that is what amazing on the things about what is available on purchasing an automobile and a new vehicle, and what is available. You almost can, there's places that you can find out what you should pay the dealership, and they shouldn't charge you over that. And that, a buddy of mine, he showed me, he broke it down. He said that, and right in front to the dealership, like, this is how much you're making. I know this is how much you're making. There's a holdback, and he said, I can never get a dealership to tell me what the holdback is. And you talked about in the industry news, Hyundai giving the cash kind of coupons that they could give somebody for something. That is something that probably like a holdback, but I think there's an official holdback still that dealerships don't want to let that formula out. But that's what I think. So it's available. You shouldn't overpay today. Today's market, you should not overpay.
So I think this brings us to another aspect, is that I'm not sure if the shipper is overpaying, but the carrier feels like they're getting underpaid. That seems to be one of the largest issues that requires fixing, which is why that guy's video, again, is so relevant. He is not alone. There are 100 carriers right now on the phone really irritated with the rates right now.
100%, and rates are definitely down from what they were a year and 2 years ago. Percentage-wise, I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but it's kind of significant. And I don't know how do you educate the carrier to not take those loads, and it's hard for the people who are the shippers who are actually moving the vehicle to say you really should pay more so this driver can support himself better. And it 100% contributes to the churn that you talk about. A guy selling his 10-car carrier, his 7-car carrier, his 3-car carrier, and somebody going, whew, I've heard in the past that you can make a lot of money delivering cars. So next guy buys what this guy's selling, and the whole process it's just a churn. It is something. The way that cycles, and the DOTs and the authorities that you mentioned.
Well,
the industry news.
The marketplace would say, well, that's tough. That's the marketplace.
That's 100%. That's, tell a shipper you should pay $300 more, and I'm trying to sell to get that deal that really you should pay this because this is what the driver's going to need. And he hangs up and goes, you know what, when I filled out that form, I got 3 other quotes. Let me see. And he calls somebody, or somebody calls him because his phone's probably ringing if he filled out a quote form. And somebody talks to him and goes, no, you don't need to pay that. I'm going to do it. I can do that for $300, and I probably can get it picked up pretty quick. So how do you stop that cycle? That we should ask Chat.
Well, and then this is where, you get what you pay for, but if you can move it cheap.
It is kind of what a little bit you get what you pay for. But when it's across the board, and everybody's paying it, Where's the difference?
I'm gonna say here's what's hard for me to watch is I know carriers go through this revolving door with cheap freight. They're all saying don't haul cheap freight, and everyone's wondering who hauled it, right? And the answer is you have no idea. You don't know the guy that hauled it.
Exactly.
You never will. You guys probably will never run into each other.
It's the guy with the for sale sign on his rig.
Right.
But
as that's happening, as the churn of the carrier, there are companies that benefited from that churn, and they continue to get bigger and bigger. It's hard to watch.
The cycle just keeps going.
And talking about it certainly doesn't help. I mean,
it hadn't helped so far. How long have you been on?
It's not going to help.
How long?
And it's not going to help. It's not. So I'm not sure what talking about it does. I suppose it's a form of, dispatch therapy. But that is what I see. I think this is what happens though. There's a certain point where one or more of those companies that have gotten so big, the battleship is slow to turn, that then one or two people decide to sell the battleship, and now all the people that were on the ship are scrambling for a new ship. And that's when they realize what it feels like to have been in that churn all along. So I talk about it because I don't think it's not sustainable. What do you think of that?
I think it is. It should not be sustainable, but history.
Some of the battleships will remain, but not all of them, and that's part of the.
No, and I think it's up to the carrier, because there's plenty of people who do have contracts and who pay well, and it's up to the carrier to find those and to not be available for the inexpensive freight. And so the carrier doing his due diligence and finding his own loads and maybe supplementing, or finding a broker that they have worked with that pays the right price, because those loads don't stay on the load board for very long. So work with a broker, work with dealerships that you can go in and say, I need this much money, I'm going to be here on these days, and I can pick up, I can bring back. Those kind of things for the carrier to build a business that they can one day sell. That's the way for them to do that. Getting loads off the load board is not a sustainable business in something that you can sell and
okay,
kind of support your family on. And you open a business to build the business and to grow the business, and to one day take the check and go do something else.
Okay.
If you don't have a book of business, as somebody who's giving you contracts or a known amount of money to transport from here to here, one where you can always go back and do it, you don't have a saleable business, and you're selling your truck for whatever the market value is for your truck. But you're not selling your business. When you sell your trucks, you should be selling your business, and you have to manage the business and get the right type of business for you to be able to do that.
So the technology, and this comes back to central dispatch and the passion I'm talking about, is that many companies will always post their loads, just like the dealer took the business back from the broker. The dealer's going to post their loads on the load board. They just need to get them moved, and they don't have time to build relationships, right? There's going to be those companies, right? Like listing stuff on eBay. Listen, I don't care if it's Sally or Jimmy or Jerry. I just want to sell it. Okay, there will always be that. So if Central Dispatch, which has the most loads available from companies that are looking for shipping, is able to then, with now their new mobile app, tap into the passion of a carrier that wants to build a business they can sell, now they've done more than create a new technology.
It's still about relationships and working with somebody, not just a one-off. And the privately owned vehicle, mom and dad going to Florida, son or daughter going to UCLA, fly the kid, ship the car. That type of, you can fill your truck with that, but that may help feed your family and pay your bills right now, but that's not part of what's building a business. And that's what you need. And I don't know that the mobile app is going to change that as far as making relationships, unless they built in some technology to offer loads to a certain sect of carriers first before it goes to the public. We've had some of that technology on Dispatch Center, but having really not the broker to embrace that and to want to do that, it's tough. But I think the technology's out there. If somebody would embrace that and they could have a carrier network, and we have my carrier network as far as how to, in Pro ABD, how to help people market the loads that they have to carriers that are looking for loads. We have some technology to help with that, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what kind of technology that Central Dispatch wants to embrace, if they are looking for ways to do those kind of things, to help brokers get their high-paying loads to carriers that are reliable and that have the reputation and that want to build their business. It'll be interesting to see. The technology's out there. We've had some ideas and moved some things forward with that, but it's for the carrier as well, though. They have to do their thing.
So I think you've made a good point of pulling us back into, if you help the carrier build their business,
Yep.
has there not been enough focus on this?
Well,
The focus has always been on the shipper, right? I mean,
well,
lot
everybody
of it.
wants the carrier. Everybody tries to say we have carriers. We have 15,000 carriers. We have 20,000. We have the carriers, but is that somebody who is hauling their first load after buying something that they just bought a new used rig that's new to them, and they have their DOT and their authority now, and they're ready to start? I don't know. I don't know. Everybody wants the carrier, but who's embracing the carrier to help the carrier make a business that they can prosper on and move forward, and then have something of value that they can one day sell. So I don't know.
Have you witnessed kind of the awkwardness of where we'll say like the average car shipping tech company has to stand next to a carrier and try to relate, and it seems awkward? Have you seen that?
At the shows?
Anywhere. I've seen it live and on TV, where somebody who relies on a carrier to move their vehicles has a difficult time relating to them. And I've always thought, that's strange. It shouldn't be so hard to relate to them.
Are you saying for the carrier to relate to the shipper or to the broker?
To the broker.
Yeah.
To the broker.
Well, I think, honestly, I think the brokers, they may want to hide a little bit because of the reputation that, they're making all this money, and and that I've seen that, and it does happen, but I don't know if that's some of it is just some the consciousness of the broker being bothered that they know that, hey, I just made $350 on this load right here, and this carrier, they actually didn't do so well. We had in the budget to pay the carrier more, but we posted it out there early, and this guy picked it up, and that can be awkward, I believe, and not so engaging. Who wants to engage in that?
All right, I want to stay on this. Do you think that, I mean, is there anything there? Should, we know that in real life, something can feel awkward. And it can be a topic where we're like, well, obviously it's awkward. But in this case, broker stands next to carrier, feels awkward. Is there any validity to it? Or, so I feel awkward. So what? Or, wait a minute. Maybe there's a reason.
I think everybody's different, and everybody represents themselves. And if you know that you do a good job for the carriers, I think you would not have any problem making eye contact, shaking the guy's hand, and saying, "Hey, thanks for helping us. Thanks for doing a good job. We appreciate you." Instead of kind of not making that eye contact, not embracing the relationship.
This is a tough topic,
It is tough. I mean, but I don't know that there's. I don't know how much opportunity there is for a broker to be standing next to a carrier to have that awkward feeling.
Well,
probably happens.
I'll tell you what, more
carriers.
Carriers are going to trade shows now than before.
Yep.
Which ATI might play a part in that. I'm not sure. Just as there are now more repo. This is one for you. There are now more repo agents going to shows than before and standing next to lenders. Right?
Yeah.
And it is awkward.
That is awkward.
It's awkward. And I would imagine
guys,
I would guess there's more than one lender saying, "Hey, can we not do this?" But I think there's something productive about that too. I mean, let's look at like a Japanese, traditional Japanese auto manufacturer. The CEO does exercises in the morning with the workers, right?
With his white coat on,
right? With his what? Right.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if he still does, but that was the traditional, and that was what Kaizen and all that stuff. I mean, there are theories.
I bet they do. I'll bet they still do.
I bet they still do. There are theories about this. I don't know, and this gets into the duct tape stuff. I'll just say this. What we see on LinkedIn is not necessarily how people act. And just saying that is a problem. But it's true.
It's not just LinkedIn. It's every
not.
Social media.
Thank you.
Every.
Thank you. That's right. And it's frustrating. And actually, that's why I tell companies, don't make another boring webinar. Don't do it. Everybody's bored. People in your own company are waiting for this thing to end. You don't need to do that.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I've seen some of those as well.
I mean, they're painful.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing as but that's why I think what happens, that's why I think we see a lot of catchy slogans, is that walk the walk and all, because somebody's hoping for something that there's still magic rather than all this falsity.
I wonder and in clickbait and how that is actually rewarded. And I heard somebody who does just some interviews of just average people, not just average people, but he does not one segment. And he was talking about, if I don't say this, and I can't get promoted. I can't get in front of people because they don't put it in front of people. They don't circulate it. So I have to put some kind of trashy clickbait in there. If I don't, they won't share it. They won't put it in front of people. So there's something to that, and I don't know. I mean, you do a ton of marketing, and I don't know.
Do a lot of marketing.
If you've experienced that or have tried different things of.
I'm actually always trying something different where I'm trying to say something truthful, but that will get attention.
That won't get any views, Jay.
Yeah, no, I know.
People are not clicking truth.
I know all about it. No, actually, you know what, Mark? I tell you, I should bronze it and put it on the wall, and that is that, a lot of people watch this channel at certain times.
Yeah.
I don't see it in the views really, but yeah, it's really strange.
The lurkers, as
I don't know how
as Candy used to call them.
Right. I don't know how people hide that they viewed. I've not. I don't know, but yeah, no, it's known, so I don't worry about that.
Look at kind of the dent in the industry that and people want to be a part of your show and to make introductions and to shake your hand.
Awesome networking happens here. Yeah, thanks.
What was that?
Yeah. Awesome networking happens here. Yeah. I can't believe how many people have met other people through ATI.
100%, and awesome. Really kudos to you, and the swing of how you have taken your channel and broadened the audience and the viewership of who this show is interesting to and relevant for. You've really done a good job of starting and getting some traction and then broadening the whole scope of what you do.
Thanks.
Really.
Well, thank you. And I really try to continue to connect with folks that probably seem out of reach of what, like we're talking about auto logistics technology right now. Here's the good news. I think auto logistics tech, and in naming the show, I called the show Auto Logistics Marketplace. Do I call it Auto Logistics Tech? Do I call it Auto Logistics Overview? This is the day-to-day marketing decisions that are actually difficult. Getting back to what somebody said, that I got to say this. Here's what I wanted to say. Kool-Aid Splashing. There, I said it. Kool-Aid Splashing. There is so much Kool-Aid splashing now that if you're anywhere near somebody splashing Kool-Aid, you are drenched in Kool-Aid. And it seems like I think a lot of people now think splashing Kool-Aid is just normal talking. And no, they don't.
In the old days, we used to just drink the Kool-Aid. We didn't splash it.
Oh yeah, no, you got to splash it now. Oh my gosh. And yes. I think it's changed, and I think social media is to blame for that.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So you and I had a conversation the other day on social media, and I shared, and I think it surprised you that I don't engage in social media, not Facebook, not Instagram. I have an account, but I have no idea who is posting what on Facebook or who has friend requested me for the last 2 or 3 years. It's not productive for me.
No, it's not.
And I have plenty of other things to do instead of getting sucked into that. LinkedIn is a little different.
Yes.
I do like LinkedIn and I do engage in LinkedIn, but LinkedIn
Kool-Aid splashing. Well, that's the problem. And now, I can't believe when I'm scrolling, 1 out of 5 posts, I can't believe. They're so Facebooky or just, really?
Yeah.
I don't even know. You're sharing what you're wearing or you're, what? I don't know why.
And I just don't want to invest my time.
I don't know why.
In
But I think I do know why. What's happened is, rather than splashing Kool-Aid, it's just this need for, I look at, hey man, I'll say this too, I look at this too. I've been making content since, I say the 80s.
That's your job. It's totally different. That's your job.
You know what? I'm now lost in the paparazzi social media need for attention marketplace. I thought I was embarking on a career of media, and I am surrounded by people taking selfies. And I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I don't know if that cycle's going to come around. Everything's cyclical.
I know, and I think about that too. Well, and that's why what I try to do is tap into Stephan Family. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Stephan Family says about everybody says we have the carriers. They said very true. They watch most of the time on demand. Yeah, thank you. Well, live or on demand, it's, and I listen to podcasts and stuff when I'm able. I don't really watch much live, so I get that too, right? I mean, because we're all busy. We have about a million podcasts.
You can do that while you're running, working out, driving.
And we binge watch TV. We do everything on demand.
Yeah. And so I was going to tell you on as you talk about social media and LinkedIn, last night I was in the grocery store and I get the ding LinkedIn notification, and it says Jay's mentioned you in a post. I click it and it's got the image of you and I having a conversation about auto transport logistics, and I sent you I sent a text message. So I was in Kroger. I'm just quickly I sent a message to you and I said, your guy did a really good job on photoshopping that image. And I didn't realize that I had sent it to my former father-in-law, Jay. His name is Jay as well. And I didn't know it for a couple of hours. And
it launched a scandal.
He responded back to me and he goes, my big bass photo, is that the one you're talking about? And I was like, big bass photo, what? And I was like, oh shoot, I sent it to the wrong person. But he's like, for a while, he's going, man, I didn't think anybody would pick up on that big bass photo.
Oh my God, the bass photo. There'll be a bass photo investigation committee.
Well, he's like, look at this one I got. And
that's awesome.
And
well,
I didn't say anything. It was sent to the wrong person. He was just like, oh man, they caught me. I don't know how he figured that out.
That's so funny. Well, now that's like Kismet or karma or one of those weird things. Hey, Stephan Family asks, how can SuperFlo help a small carrier?
So a couple things. We have Dispatch Center, and Dispatch Center has a lot of good tools in it. One is loadification, and it's a load notification. We have advanced technology in the notification. So you just put in your route and what your route is and where we can notify you. And Central has that, and I think Super is either does have it now or is engaging in it. But we have advanced loadifications. So if I said I'm in Ohio and I'm going to Florida and I'm starting in Columbus and I'm going to Miami, and before you could say I want a metro of Columbus to a metro of Miami, or I want Ohio to Florida and do a metro. We send load notifications to the carriers that are in the route for things along the way. Lexington, Kentucky, going to Florida, that would be in the route. I think there's some other advancements being made in that as well, but loadifications is one, and I think one tool that is not really utilized as much as it is as powerful as it is Route Scout, and being able to route scout loads to be able to find a load and what is going to pay the most. What's going to pay the most for the route that I just put in that I want? And these are the loads that are available. But we have some advanced technology with that as well, which, interestingly enough, it's not only limited to the loads that are on Dispatch Center, but you can put in your central dispatch, your carrier, central dispatch, and when you search, you can click a button that says, I want to bring in the central loads. So it's giving you all of the loads, essentially, that are available for that route that you want to run. And as you route scout it and you say, how many positions do I have on my truck? Route Scout will give you scenarios. It'll start with the highest paying load for that route, and it will present that to you. But interestingly, in how Route Scout presents itself, we if you say I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm going to Miami, Florida, and you start and you Route Scout that, and you bring all the loads that are available, we tell you in a report for that scenario of vehicles, if you have 5 or 6 or 10, doesn't matter, but however many are in there, we tell you how many miles you have to drive if you're starting in Columbus, Ohio, to pick up your first one, tell you the order to pick up, and tell you the order to deliver. And if you say you want to end in Miami and there's something that delivered in the Keys and then you have to end up back in Miami, it would calculate that too as well. So it gives you your total miles and your driving miles in both scenarios and how much you're making dollars and cents per mile. And I think a lot of people do not know how much they are making when they're driving for the loads that they have. So the scenario of the highest paying load, that's the first scenario. But if you look at the different scenarios that are available to you, the third or the fourth one down, you may make 50, 60 cents more a mile if you take that selection of vehicles, and the dollar amount that you grossed may be different. It may be lower. You may be making a lower dollar amount in revenue, but the more dollars and cents per mile could be in a scenario that's further down. And that's the important thing. How much am I making per mile as I drive? And we tell you in that report, in that scenario, as we break that down, how many miles you're driving, how many dollars and cents you're earning for all the miles that you're driving, from when I picked up my first one to delivered my last one, and when I started, made my first pickup, made my last drop off, and then go to the destination. We break that down. It's a great tool. It is really a great tool. And it's not just loads that are available on the load board. You can take loads that are assigned to you and put them in a trip and then route scout the trip. So it's a really very, very cool tool. And I'm putting something out right now that's not public and hearing it first on Auto Transport Intel, Jay. But we have something that we're testing right now. I've seen it work. Is a carrier from their central dispatch account can say, with a Chrome extension, these loads are assigned to me, sending it to dispatch center. Click the button, send it to dispatch center, and it comes back with a bill of lading that the carrier, a digital bill of lading that the carrier can click to open up the bill of lading and do the inspection. But additionally, if you take all the loads that are assigned to you and you just send them over to dispatch center, whether you do the bill of lading or not, doesn't matter, but you could put them over to the driver in dispatch center and then create a trip. And then almost every load that you are working with generally is on your central dispatch account. If you send those over to dispatch center and route scout it, you'll know pretty easily what the dollars and cents are for what you're getting. So thanks for that question.
Two-part follow-up,
Yep.
parts.
Yep.
One is this a paid service?
Yes. Yeah. So dispatch center is a subscription based for the carriers.
Okay. And then I want to go into part 2 of that, which is the why, which gets us back into helping the carrier develop their business. You know, one of the things I was thinking as you were talking was, how many, I'm just going to say broker, because this is carrier terminology. When a carrier describes the other person involved in the transaction, that's taken part of the money and that doesn't seem to be helping them develop business, but rather just is in control of the load, they're always called the broker. Okay.
Yeah.
How many brokers, we say they have the carriers and all this stuff, but are working with the carriers to help them develop a business? It sounds like that's something that you're trying to do with Dispatch Center.
We have technology that would help brokers, and we haven't really advertised it very much. We developed it for one broker specifically, and it's a technology where they can post their loads initially, and a carrier that is in that broker's network can see the details of the order first, and other people can kind of shadow it and see that it's there, but they can't request it yet until the time limit that the broker selected is expired. But the other thing for the carrier that doesn't have that broker relationship, they can, if they click the request, they're told, this is what you can't request this, and because you're not in the preferred network of this broker, but here's what you need to do to get into that preferred network. So it's a good tool. It's not utilized very much right now. I would like somebody who wants to take care of the carriers that are in their network and give them first opportunity at the higher paying loads, that they could maybe embrace that technology. So are you muted? Are you muted?
Check. Thanks. Thank you. I'm wondering, because you said, things move in cycles. They do move in cycles. They move in slow cycles. Here we go. No, Royal Crown. Let's see. Moving into this. No more subscriptions on load boards. I stopped using Dispatch Center. It was full of old jobs and duplicated jobs that were on Central Super Car Shipio. I'm reading this now. Oof.
And I understand that.
Okay.
People cutting back and doing their things, and just it depends. What level of service do they want, and how do they want to utilize the tools that we have? It is subscription. It is subscription. I've tried to figure out how to not make it subscription and to bring more of the cost that we need for the development into more shared cost with the shipper or the broker.
Isn't that the problem? I mean, that is one of the... And so, these large battleships, how have they figured out how to... I guess it depends on in your business model. What you do is you make a ton of money off of a few parts, and then the other parts are free.
Well, that could be. So
is that what it is?
Certus is very, very,
huge.
Certus
company.
And ACV specifically, they're like, we don't charge for our load board. They don't really have a load board. They have an available list of vehicles they want carriers to log on to and take from their available list. It's not a commercial application. They have their loads. If they had a load board, they would have other brokers' load boards. That's not a load board. It's an available list, and you're giving a carrier the opportunity to engage in my available list, and hopefully, because I'm somebody who has an available list and not a load board. A load board is multiple companies posting loads that are available for the carriers, not I have an available list and I hope some carriers log on here and take the cars that I need to move off my available list. That's not a load board. That's an available list.
What an education. I'm telling you that I love what you're saying, because I mean you're chipping away, because I say these top 20 load boards, and I'm going to start using available list but I'm still going to say load boards. And in fact, Royce at Auto Hauler Exchange, he says Auto Hauler Exchange isn't a load board.
Same thing. It is an available list. They take orders from dealerships to move cars. They're their orders. Auto Hauler Exchange's orders. They want a carrier to log on and take their order. It's not a load board. It's an available list.
Okay, Central Dispatch is a load board.
Central Dispatch absolutely is a load board.
Why? Tell us why.
They're post. They have every load that's available in the industry to ship, almost posted on their load board. They take listings from multiple shippers, dealerships, and brokers, and they're posted and available for carriers to look at, engage, and hopefully can request, and to make a contact with the shipper, the dealer, or the broker to take that load. They have loads from everybody. It's a load board. That is a load board.
What is so interesting is, I mean, that, since I love that we're talking about this, I think they're charging about $150 per carrier on average ish.
Actually, I'm not sure.
$135.
I think, and Sue has touched on that in one of the Thursday shows, that people. I think if you've been around for a while and you were at this rate, I think that they haven't bumped you. But if you're new, you may be at a higher rate. 100%, I'm not sure about that, but that's what I suspect, and I've heard it. I've heard Sue make those comments, and I think that that's probably true.
All right, and here we are. We're getting to the meat of it, because I was talking about Central Dispatch tapping into the passion. And here is Royal Crown says the problem is Central has a monopoly on the auto transport market and offers little protection for carriers from double brokers. Central doesn't provide half the services that Super does. Now, I think Sue would say the same thing. And I'm saying it's not over yet, though. Central
it's
still
not over,
has.
and
Yeah.
the monopoly. Super is making some inroads and gaining some market share, and I see it every day. I see and Central. There has to be some kind of red flag that went up that said, hey, why aren't people dispatching through Central Dispatch? Well, could be because they're doing it from a different load board. Dispatch Center, Ship.Cars, Super Dispatch. They are providing the services that Central Dispatch is not, and that they're Central does have a monopoly, and they have been called the 800-pound gorilla, but they're maybe leaning and swaying a little bit on top of the Eiffel Tower as they're doing. Other companies are making some traction against them, and Central does not have the loads being dispatched through their platform that they once had, and I think that's exactly why they've said, "Ooh, we better do something," and hey, let's put $100 million into an investment of our technology, make it better, and try to stop that bleed, because there is a bleed there. I see it. They have a bleed.
So, first of all, okay. Alex said the Central Dispatch is $124 a month. And one of the reasons I thought it was a little high on that number, but I know there's other things you can get, like load notifications, and I believe there's other upgrades you can make. But Alex says that SD has other ridiculous fees. And see, here's one of the things.
Who does?
Super Dispatch.
Okay.
See, Super Dispatch seems to be known as a free platform, but it's not totally free.
The app is free.
Explain that. Yeah, explain.
In So you can get something assigned to you as a carrier, and you cannot have a subscription that you pay for on Super Dispatch. It's my understanding. I'm not a Super Dispatch representative, but a carrier can manage a load that has been given to him and do an inspection, market delivered or market picked up, do the inspection at the destination, market delivered, and satisfy the need of that broker to have a digital bill of lading submitted as that order has been picked up and delivered for their customer. So
right. Okay. So but that's if you're the owner, operator, only person in the company, right? If you have somebody in the office and you're the driver, I think you've just moved into paid. No?
100%. I don't know.
I don't. Okay.
I don't know. But
I'm out of the loop now too, but that's what I thought.
If you want to see loads that are available, you have to subscribe to the TMS and to the load board.
Okay, and there we go.
And you don't have access to be able to look for your own loads and to request those and kind of negotiate with the broker or the shipper for that load. Would you call Super Dispatch a load board? Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, right. A Certus available list.
A Certus is available list, yes.
What about Holly? Do you know?
No, that's an available list as well. Those are all United Road loads. They're not
right. Okay, available list is loads from within the company that you can book and move for us.
For us, exactly, for us.
Company
on Holly, do you see a Certus's loads on Holly?
No, it's just
United Road.
Okay. Reindeer, available list. Okay, I got it. Okay, I didn't know that it's well. Then most load boards are available lists.
They are. Move my load. I don't make any money. I'm gonna and 100%. They're not going to charge a carrier to look at their load board. Oh, you don't have to pay to get a look at our load board. Well, it's an available list. It's like if you don't move that load, you're not making any money, and you need me to log on and.
So let's go a step further. Which one is more helpful to a carrier, a load board or an available list?
I think that 100% depends on who has the available list. Because I think there's some available lists that pay higher than maybe what they would find on the load board. And that's knowing your customer and building your business and who you're going to work for. I think that's totally up to the carrier to find those loads that are on an available list from individual companies trying to move their freight, who is paying the best and who will pay a rate that is going to help make you money and help support your business.
So, and that would make sense.
You can do that 100%. You can build a nice business and one that you could sell if you worked for a company, and if it was only one company, if you're taking loads and they're high-paying loads, and even loads that, and I know ACV is one that will offer this to carriers. When they get an order, they don't even post it on their available load list because they're just faxing it or emailing it and assigning it to the carrier that they know runs that route, and they have built a business that they will just take all of the loads that are in that route, and they never even hit the available list for other carriers to look at. And I know there's companies that buy additional equipment to help move the volume that is available to them from somebody like ACV. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. You have built a relationship and you're working for somebody who they know that you're working for them specifically, and they want to take care of you. They want you to be profitable. They want you to do a good job for them, and they want to just feed business to you because you're taking loads off of their available list.
Well, I was just saying, I saw that. Okay, so Alex says Holly's the best platform in the industry. Stefan Family says, is that a joke? This is where, so I just sidebar. I want.
So that's what makes the world go round.
I know, well, exactly, right. You like the Cincinnati Reds, and, you know, somebody else wants the Yankees. And
Exactly.
I want to know why. I really, this has taken years to get here. I want somebody from every company to come on and tell me what's great about their platform. This is why I like what we're doing right now. I want to do this with somebody from every company. Do you know what? I can't. And that's why I showed a picture of a guy with his mouth duct taped. There are many companies that cannot do this. And that worries me. What? Why can't you come on and talk about the company and services that you're splashing Kool-Aid on LinkedIn about it? You can't come on a TV.
No,
you need right?
You know, if
You need a
I think
highly
it's bad
regulated
being
webinar.
in the Facebook group and getting hammered in the Facebook group. They probably have a little fear of coming on and being hammered from.
Well, I will say this. That's why I congratulate Central Dispatch is coming on next month, and that's awesome. And I've been telling them, do it. I promise it'll be good.
It will be good.
It will be good. It'll be good. I think people will like. This is like the power of like healing and like. Getting together and getting to know people. I mean, this is strange talk, Jay, but like when you get to know people, it breaks down some of the walls that you thought existed. It's crazy how it works, but it's got to be real.
That could be good for Central Dispatch as well.
It can't be a Kool-Aid webinar. It won't be here, but it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
You've been working on that contact and having that show for a long time.
Oh my gosh!
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for them.
Yeah. That's going to be a Tuesday show, right?
Yeah, in August.
Yeah.
I think it's August 20th, so it's a month away. And this gets into there are companies going back to the broker standing next to the carrier that feels awkward. My question for the broker that's feeling awkward standing next to the carrier, are you noticing this? Like, is it worth it? I guess I'm going to say it must be worth it. That money has to be worth it. And
Are they the Kool-Aid Splasher, or are they the ones taking advantage of
I think
posting the low rates?
Honestly, I think the groups that make the most per transaction fly low on the radar and you don't even notice them. That's what I think. We're not supposed to. The only people that do notice them are the ones that they've made it clear they want to be noticed, and they have made it rain, baby. Make it rain. Because when you've got that much money, I've said buildings full of people and all this stuff, but it's true too. And this is the carriers. I'm saying it on behalf of the carrier. I will tell you, Mark, one of the things that I find so frustrating is I'm saying these things on behalf of carriers that are fed up and they don't appreciate it. It's fine. But they are fed up because they're calling on a load, trying to argue, trying to get some extra money, and then they see that there's buildings full of people with plenty of money. That's what they're up against. And it's kind of crazy.
I don't know, and there are a lot of brokers that go out of business, and who, because they didn't charge enough, or they I don't know. They're not making enough. Their margin. It's tough for the broker to buy leads to be able to convert to an order that they can then post to the load board. The cost of that itself can be very high. And you have so many tire kickers, like, you know, mom and dad going to Florida. Should we drive this year or should we fly? Well, let's see. And they get some price quote. They fill out a form. They fill out 2 forms, and then they get several responses. And every response that they get, somebody purchased that information. Somebody purchased it. The brokers purchase it, and that's how they're getting their business. So that those costs are a lot. And the brokers that are a little bit more sophisticated and they try to drive traffic to their website, they're competing with the people who are selling the leads. And a broker who's trying to drive traffic to his website through Google ads and through campaigns, those are also expensive. And what's interesting about that, they're competing with somebody who is selling 10 leads, and that broker has to compete for somebody who's buying that click, somebody filling out that form, and now that company that's going to sell those leads is selling them to 4, 6, 10 different companies, and each of those companies that are buying them have to, they're paying for each one of the leads that comes into their CRM and that they're managing. And every lead that you can buy a $5 or a $10 lead, and it's somebody who's trying to kick a tire and has no car to sell, or not sell, but to transport. If they're looking to buy a car and they don't buy the car, but they want to know how much is it to transport it if it comes back to us, that's somebody that when you're the broker, and what is your conversion on those type of leads? Your conversion may be 2, 3, 4%, 5% is a very good conversion for a broker who's buying leads. And you think, how many of those do I have to buy? If I'm buying a $5 lead, but I need to buy 10 of them to get an order out of that, then that's 10%. So 20 you buy 20 of them, it's just expensive. And people go, the brokers are making so much money, but they have an order that they're making $200 or $300 or $100 or $150 on, but they had to buy so many leads to get that one order. So it's a tough business, and there's not enough, really, I don't know if disclosure, but maybe understanding of what the broker is going through, and how much does it actually cost the broker to convert an order. Every lead that they get, they are not converting an order. So they have to buy several leads, and sometimes for a lot of money, to get that order. Now that broker is going to post it, and if they make $200 on it or $250, good for the broker, because that helps them buy more leads and take care of their people. It's not all going a straight $250 to the broker or $200 to the broker, or some work for smaller margins, but it's hard. It's a hard business, and I think a lot of people don't realize how that works. So if you're the broker who's trying to drive business to your website, and you're paying the same price for that click that somebody who's selling to 10 people has to pay, then it's when you have to pay 10 or 12 or 20, $25 for a lead that somebody else is selling, and they're selling it to 10 other companies, and you have to compete with that. It's a very tough business, and that is why what drives so much of the leads, and why you need to buy leads to help supplement your business, because you can't drive that traffic to your website by clicking and have to pay Google for that click, because somebody's competing for that same click. They're paying more than it's worth for you, because you're not going to get the conversion. You're going to get a very similar conversion, and probably actually that is incorrect. If you have somebody that you've driven to your website, your conversion is going to be better, because you don't have to compete against other brokers that are trying to get that same customer. So if you're driving traffic to your website through a click campaign, your conversion is higher, and you have to do the math of what is more profitable, what is my cost per order, with doing it from this way or doing it from this way. And just Pro ABD in that CRM and managing, we have very good reports on telling you, breaking it down. You got so many orders from a lead provider. We tell you how much it cost you to buy those leads, and what the average dollar cost was, and what you made as a broker for your business. So you can kind of watch that. It's a tough business, and people don't realize how tough that is for the brokers. And every order that they're making $250 on, it costs them a lot to get that one $250 order.
So I want to say this, and this is where we talk about locations and types of loads. Okay, Jay, what are you talking about? All right. When you talk about buying leads, I feel like you're talking about private individual moves, people that searched on Google, turned into a lead, and those are the leads being purchased.
Surprised how many dealerships.
Tell me more about that. So there are leads from dealerships? Yeah, I didn't know
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
And that's great for the broker, because if you can make that contact, and so you have a guy from a dealership looking for leads and going to the web and how much is it to ship my car, and he wants to know that, that's a guy that you need to embrace and make a relationship with. And for the broker, everybody who ships a car will generally do it again. Mom and dad going down to Florida, they're going to come back in the spring. Son or daughter going to UCLA, they're coming back for the summer. And that cycle just keeps going. When you can get an order and take care of that customer, the repeat business is really what you're working for. And I think that really helps supplement what the cost of buying those leads. So
okay, so I'm going to think that a dealer that turns into a lead is a smaller dealer, meaning that once you've been in business for a few years and you've been buying leads and dealing with that, I think that's probably how most brokers get started. But what you realize is, man, I need to make a relationship, and this is why, I got a knee-jerk reaction to it's all about relationships, because I have totally seen people go on and on about the relationships conversation, and they turned out to be scammers too. So I don't like talking like that, but it is in that when you want to build your business with a reliable client rather than just random client that probably is a one-time deal, it's going to be about building a relationship. But that doesn't mean splashing Kool-Aid, giving a shirt, and going to see a movie. It means serving your client.
100%.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the Kool-Aid splashing relationship crap that I'm tired of. It's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. And yet, I'm completely false in real intention. I mean, that's unfortunate. But I want to say this is that I think the larger brokers have learned that once you get big enough, and if you can serve a rooftop dealership, that is the client you want. A dealership, an auction. Those are the clients. Now, that's not easy to serve, and you can't be small potatoes. But that's the client you're looking for.
Exactly.
Because
That's
if you
exactly
get
what
there,
you need.
now
And
you've got an available list.
on your return order from that dealership, you don't need the same margin for that dealership, for that repeat business, that you do when you buy a lead. And because you don't have to buy several to get that one order, that dealership's giving you that. So the dealership can generally get establishing a relationship with a broker, and that's the other thing. So establishing the relationship with the broker, when a dealership is looking for leads off a lead platform, I venture to say that something didn't go right with the last move that he did, and he's now looking for somebody else. So if you're that broker, build that relationship. People who move cars again, and build that relationship, and have that customer, when they want to ship the car in the spring back home or back to college, that you're in front of them and they know who to call. There's the systems and the technology are out there for you to do that.
Okay,
and that's what you need to do.
So that's why I want to talk about CRM. You have a CRM. A lot of people, CRM seems to be that's the chupacabra of software. What is the CRM? In a nutshell, as you build your business, you need a CRM to, right? You got, hey, I think Bob needs a car moved. What do we do?
So I saw the video today on supers and what's a TMS and what's a CRM, and kind of 100%. I want to go back and make sure I look at that. I don't know if they were saying that you don't need a CRM, you need a TMS, or I don't know. Maybe there's some hype on the CRM, but the CRM, the customer relationship management system. If you're the dealership and you're posting your orders, I already know. I already have the customer. I don't need to market to somebody to get that order. They're my orders. If somebody is a dealership or that type of business, and they're posting loads to the load board, the TMS, they don't need the CRM as much. Could they benefit? Maybe they could, but they don't need that. The person that is buying the lead and trying to convert that lead to an order, and then the order to post it to the load boards, you 100% need the CRM, because you can't accomplish the same thing with just the TMS. You need the CRM. So they work hand in hand, and depending on the type of business that you do, really should dictate whether I need a TMS, a CRM, or both in conjunction with each other. Central dispatch is a TMS. Really, it's the same thing. You have orders that you need somebody to take from you. Central, it accomplishes that same thing. So Central, after JTracker went away, they didn't have a CRM. JTracker was the CRM for Central Dispatch. People need a CRM to manage.
There you go. People need a CRM to manage
quotes and orders and dispatches.
Right. Ding. That's right. Because if you don't have a CRM, so I didn't see the Super Dispatch video, and I'm
going to look at it again.
Some videos I don't watch because I'm not ready to cover that topic yet, and I think I've already got it, and I didn't actually understand the premise of the video. What's the myth that they're?
But I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't understand the premise of the video. I couldn't figure out what the purpose was, and so I didn't watch it.
What
Right.
is the myth? I don't know. I don't know if they're saying
I don't know what myth they're talking about.
you don't need a CRM.
So
There's-
setting aside myth busting, CRMs are, and that's the thing. I don't know why the myth busting. Okay, a CRM is a tool that you need to build a business if you're getting new leads. If you're not getting new leads, and maybe this is the myth busting, if you're not getting any new leads, you don't need a CRM. But if you say you want to build a business, you should have a CRM. You should want a CRM. You should build a business, right? If you want to just haul cars, you don't need a CRM. You're not building a business.
the CRM is not for the carrier.
But, well, it's for whoever wants to build a business. Here's the thing. The videos on YouTube that talk about getting rich and building up and having a bunch of trucks, if that's you, I think you want a CRM. Do you agree with that?
Depends how you, as that carrier-based business, are going to get your business.
Well,
How
there
you're
you
going to
go.
establish, how you're going to market to your customers, how you're going to manage what
This is awesome,
has
man.
been picked up, what's not been
How
picked
are you
up.
going to
what's
get to
this,
10
that.
trucks if you're not building a business?
Well, that's all part of it.
You're not. And if you do, if you get to 10 trucks and you're not building a business by getting new leads and getting new business, you're going out of business. If you're not gonna sustain a 10 truck business just off of load boards and available lists. Now you might think you are. Man, maybe you had a good year. But you're not building a business that you can sell.
You're not building a business that
You're
you
not.
can sell.
Because you won't have a client list.
You don't have a client.
And
don't-
if you want a client list, you need a CRM. A CRM. So well-known CRMs are like Salesforce and stuff, right?
HubSpot.
Yeah, HubSpot. These companies that you don't know what they do, right? I know that somebody in the live chat or on demand has heard of Salesforce or HubSpot and has no idea what they do. It's essentially a CRM tool and more. I mean, this is where, you have like several salespeople and you're keeping track of phone calls and notes and clients and contact info and the sales funnel and all the craziness. But essentially, you need a CRM to manage your sales funnel, your new business. A TM.
And
yeah.
your repeat business and to market
Oh,
back
there you
to
go.
repeat
That's
back
right.
to
And
the
then your
customer.
marketing campaigns fall into line and your yeah. Now a TMS, that's for managing loads.
That's for managing a load one time that I need to.
Which has nothing to do with building a business.
That's managing
You
a load
might
that's
think
available.
That's building a business, but it's not. A TMS is just managing loads. Like a shopping cart is like a TMS. You put stuff in, you take stuff out, you needed it for logistics. That's pretty much it.
I'll have to think about that.
I know, right? Analogies on the fly.com. So anyways, if there is a myth, I just busted it. You're welcome. Oh, shoot. I would say load board versus available list, TMS, CRM, mobile app. Now here's a question. Does a mobile app tap into your new leads from your CRM? It taps into your TMS, load management.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it generally. So it doesn't go from the CRM to the mobile app. It would go, you would post it to the TMS, and from there it would be sent in a manner that the carrier could respond to and make the request. It doesn't go straight from the CRM to a mobile app.
Right. Okay. Auto quoter. Now we're having fun. Because you've had an auto quoter tool, I'm going to say for 10 years. Am I right?
longer than that.
There
but
you go.
Yeah.
Okay. That is longer than almost anybody else, as far as I know.
The thing that it really just amazes me of the technology behind Transport Auto Quoter and really what we were able to build with that, because there is not an auto quoter that is like that in the industry. It's so, there's so many variables and considerations to take into effect to get a good price to properly quote the vehicle. And really just building the technology in there to be able to know where the vehicle is, where it's going, and some of the difficulties along the way. There's not an auto quoter that has stood up to that. And I know big companies have tried to make an auto quoter and told U-Ship. I mean, how big is U-Ship? They were almost bullying me and telling me that I'm sorry, we're coming out with an auto quoter. They probably won't even use your auto quoter anymore because ours is going to be so good. It came out for, they shut it back down as quick as they started it up because it was a disaster. And they're a big company, that have tried to make auto quoters. I know other ones as well.
All right, so I'm with you right there, because I know of another big company that they've hands down has the best, and I feel like I've heard another big company, if not another big company, say the same thing, which brings me to this.
About the auto quoter topic?
Meaning everybody says they have the best. See, and this is where I say, everybody says they have the best one. We have the most carriers. We have the best app. We have the best auto quoter, and on it goes. This is the Kool-Aid Splashing I'm talking about. I mean, it's great to love your team, but
I think we have the best auto quoter in the industry, and I'll stand up.
I think you might
say that, and nobody has been able to show me otherwise. Honestly, Montway has a good auto quoter.
And I'll tell you, when you say that, I think that means a lot. And I'm not surprised, because I think Ship.Cars, again, the Montway Ship.Cars shuffle, whatever. Ship.Cars, I think, is amazing. I think it's great technology. I think Ship.Cars is the technology arm of Montway. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't,
It
doesn't matter.
That's what holds them back. That's what holds them back, because other brokers don't really want to compete against Montway, and they don't really like Montway because they are their competition, and they're not going to post their loads to help.
Well, I think their owners have tried to bring down the wall. I have always maintained it's two sides of the same street. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I would think you'd celebrate it. Ship.Cars is the technology. Montway handles all the logistics. And scene. But whatever. Okay. Ship.Cars has great technology. Speaking of Ship,
they do.
I'm friends with Ship.Cars. They've been on the show. I love their tech. Man, we had a couple of their dispatcher guys, dispatcher tech guys on the show. Nice tech. So
they're very squared away. They have they have a good group of developers that the look, the UI, the experience for the user is good. It's very good.
So they just released, you saw in the news, I think.
Yep.
Okay, they're saying real-time tracking, and I think it's being posed as kind of first of its kind, and I'm saying, what's first of its kind? Real-time tracking's not first of its kind. Is it the ability to send a link to the customer? I'm asking the question nobody will ask. What's first of its kind? I really want to know.
That sounds like a good Thursday show for you.
Right. It's fine. Listen, it's fine. That's the world we live in. This is the Kool-Aid Splashing world we live in. It's like we always have to say, why can't we just say, hey, man, this is really good stuff. Do we have to say first of its kind? And by the way, anyways, you're right. It's a show. Come on, Ship.Cars, let's do a show, man. And this is actually part of, we're landing the plane. We're about to land the plane. In the auto logistics marketplace, I've been reaching out to everybody. Come back, do a show, tell us what's under the hood. We know you're working on stuff. I had many companies say, I can't do a show right now, or we got our heads down and we're working on stuff. Do you think that that's the current status of the marketplace? Do most people have their head down working on stuff because it's now gotten
Everybody
really
is working on stuff.
It is,
guarantee
right?
everybody's working with stuff on stuff. But when Ship.Cars makes an announcement like that, that's a perfect opportunity. Knock on their door and say, hey, why don't you come and do a show? And it's really, now that they've made that announcement, it's a perfect time for them to come onto the show and
done that.
Show off their wares.
You know what? I think the problem is, what's the value in doing that?
To whom?
Well, I think where we've gotten is since we have to control everything. Everything's got to be controlled. This is why we get boring webinars. We have to control the death out of the message. So we're just going to do it in this room with this projector, with these people. And by the way, they don't really care either. They're just here for the moment. They just want to make sure that their bottom line is working. I'm not blaming any one company, but I think that's what's happened. Is that what's happened is this need to control the message has become. One company said we can't come on your show. We can't control the message. The need to control the message has now gotten so far. This is how you end up with myth busting that we don't even understand. The need to control the message has gotten out of control. Out of control. And now we're not even relating to each other. This is the part of the cycle that I think has to break. It can't go like this forever. Don't we have to be able to relate to? And this is why I think we see carriers attracted to ATI, because they're searching for some truth. Is there any truth out there?
There's a diversification of truth here at ATI, and some shows have a lot more relevance to the carrier than others, but it's still, there's something for everybody who's in the industry. Every show almost has something that's relevant, and if they miss it, hit the podcast.
Hey, do you know the GME stuff?
I don't know.
Roaring
GME.
Kitty, GME, Diamond Hands. Do you know that stuff?
Are they on social media?
Okay, so you don't. All right, that's okay. Okay, you don't. All right. So here's what I know. I'm an outside. I'm a noob on this too. There was a movement by this guy that called himself Roaring Kitty on YouTube. Right now, somebody's like, "Really, Jay? That's not even close." Okay. So, anyways, this guy, he is an independent stockbroker kind of guy. He's not a Wall Street guy. He's an outsider. All right.
Okay.
And he somehow gets into these weird stocks, and he gets into GME, which is the stock for GameStop.
Which is the stock for what?
GameStop.
Okay.
GameStop, the store. And without belaboring and putting everybody to sleep, the point is this guy went to YouTube and made a very strange show, because he's a strange guy. I mean, it's his nature. And he just made a show that made sense to him, and I don't know how long it took, but it made sense to a lot of other people too. And then now it's this like rebellious movement on Wall Street. And in some ways I see this as a bit of a Roaring Kitty, where it's this strange thing that's, how do you control this? I think there are still people and companies that are looking at ATI thinking, how do we control that? Because if that can be figured out, then, then we'd see something new. Because
Yeah, you have more insight on who you're talking to and who has that kind of response.
It's I like that you said that. The thing is, this is the part that I do speak in code a bit. I mean, I look to the upper echelons of who's buying, who's trying to connect big companies, what other Kool-Aid splashing narratives are working that really don't make sense, but people are buying into because it looks like it'll lead to business. That's another thing of the Kool-Aid splashing, and this is where the Wall Streetness of automotive comes in, is that I think a lot of people like things because they think it'll lead to more business, not because they actually like it. And I think that is a real problem. And if I didn't see it so much, I'd say, yeah, I get you, right? Give the preacher a like because, I want him to let me in the church, But it's gotten out of control. Like, it's now like, and I think that has led to some of the really weird posts. Again, like wearing clothes, in 50 likes in 5 minutes just because you wore something. Is it what you wore or the way that you were wearing it or the political thing? And I'll end with this. Trump's elevation to godlike status now. I don't know where that takes us all, but it's really fascinating.
It's something.
It is something else.
He's really influenced not just he has had a lot of influence on how other politicians in other countries now try to conduct campaigns and to take positions. It's you can go down the list of the countries, and we probably shouldn't even get into politics this
We're not gonna, but
no, it's not. But there's something, it's very dynamic, and people some of it is, there's some people trying to drink the Kool-Aid that's being splashed.
But it's also about risk taking, which doesn't always work out, but when it does, mega millions.
It's
wild.
Yeah. There's a lot to that. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, well, and I mentioned it because
maybe even another show.
I think we've been talking a lot about marketing within technology. When I talk about Kool-Aid splashing, so hopefully it hasn't been too much. We'll end before all the Biden comments come rolling in. We'll say this though. Speaking of risk taking, I know a lot of people don't like George Clooney. I think his movies are great. I think it's amazing that George Clooney said, "Hey, guys, no, that's a risk." Some people say, "Well, he's just an actor," or blah blah blah. That's a major risk. He took a big risk. I don't know if it'll work out or not, but some of this, I guess it's risk taking in social media that when we see it, we all look around and wonder, do we like it? Do we wait? What do we do? And then if it's a winning risk, man, mega millions. If it's a losing risk, goodbye, Sue.
I don't think I think with social media, the people, they look what happened to Bud Light.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Bud Light. And my kids know what Bud Light did to that company. Bud Light thing. Wow.
It was very damaging.
Well, it's still going, I think.
They took a risk, and that did not pay off.
Right. A risk that didn't pay off, and man.
Damn.
But you know what? On that risk, I actually don't think I don't think there was any real calculation at all. I think that's what happens if you listen to if you don't listen to any good advice and you just let somebody take some dumb risk like that. I still don't even understand that campaign.
What I think
It makes no sense at all.
I think their bigger problem was that they took the risk, but then they didn't stand behind what they felt was right.
Well,
and
right.
they
didn't write it quick enough.
They waffled back on what we were trying to do, and now they have both sides.
Oh my God!
Not buying
that
their product.
Thing it is.
They could have at least stood up and said, "This is the right thing," and it's okay. And at least they would have had that the whole other type of business, people, not business, but society, at least supporting their business. But for a long time, nobody was buying their product.
But I still don't think they're back. I think Modelo and Beck's.
Modelo's number one,
right? Yeah, and I don't think it's ever going to change. I think what happened, a lot of their base finally realized this beer isn't worth it.
You know, interestingly, and I don't know what it's cost, like Peyton Manning, and some of the celebs that are doing Bud Light commercials and Budweiser commercials.
Yeah, but that's just a deal, right?
I like Peyton Manning though.
Okay, well that's smart. That means somebody right? People like Peyton Manning. He's going to earn his money. Gosh, can he help us? No, not even Peyton Manning can save your beer company.
I don't know about
You're right, though. They probably got some back. And the Jason Kelsey, do you know Jason Kelsey had, I don't know, anyways.
Yeah. The other thing, though, I think is interesting, like in Cincinnati, in the Great American Ballpark where the Cincinnati Reds play, $16 for a tall beer. And the only beer, almost the only beer that you can buy is Bud or Bud Light.
I hate that.
They've pushed a lot of the other ones out, and I'm sure they're buying that shelf space in that marketplace.
This is just like auto logistics. That's what's happened to some of these clients, some of these dealers, and some of these auctions. They don't have a choice. They can't use anybody else. But how much is the beer? How much is a 16-ounce Bud? Do you know?
$16. $16 over there
for a 16-ounce.
It's the larger can, so I think that is maybe it's 20 ounce. Is that 20 ounce the larger one you get?
The large can. Well, they're doing, but even concert venues are doing that now. Those big cans are $20, whether you get Mike's Hard Lemonade or whatever it is. Which is, if I'm spending $20, I'm getting something that I actually might drink.
that you don't mind that somebody sees you.
If somebody
walking around with the can.
No, I don't care. I don't care what beer people see me drinking. I don't care. Listen, if the supermarket said, "Here's a case of Bud for $1," I'll buy it and I'll drink it. And I'll walk around. I don't care. Yeah, I'll probably think about, sure. Hopefully
it's worn
it doesn't
off
have
a little bit though. It's worn off, and which is gonna eventually help.
But I won't do that because I don't like their beer.
Well, that's totally different. That's a different.
Well, it's not good beer.
Well, that's a different issue, but they'll come back around.
Somebody's like, man, are these guys done talking yet? Yeah, we're pretty much done. We're pretty much done. But I'm glad we went to that. Hey, dispatch center. What's his name? What's the guy's name?
Who?
The dude in the background. The guy behind
Larry.
him. Larry. How's Larry doing? I like Larry.
Larry misses his trivia.
The trivia.
He's a little sad.
I know.
A little sad.
It occurred to me the other day. I know. That was fun.
I enjoyed that too.
I know. I did too. Well,
when your show is
much shorter now. This is
Yeah,
the
it's
longest.
much shorter, and that
Yeah.
the time that yeah, it's there should be a different venue for Larry somewhere.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, maybe there, yeah. Ooh, can we have a list of new auto transport boards that are up and coming? Thank you for asking me that. Perfect segue. So Thursday's show, and remember what you said about Larry, because I would love to do, I don't know how we do it, though. We have to figure it out. So, by the way, I think this content should be in a mobile. I can't believe ATI is not inside of a mobile app on a regular basis. I actually can't believe that. I thought by now it surely would be. So, something to think about. I know. Thursday, Royal Crown. You're up on deck Thursday, meaning ask and ye shall receive. Thursday's show on Industry Logistics at noon Central Time, we're doing top 18 load boards. If we can get 19, we'll do it. If we can get 20, we'll do it.
Are you going to separate the load boards from the available lists?
No.
Okay.
I'll mention it. But there's a certain point where you got to keep it simple.
Yeah, I know.
Top load boards.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. But I like
sure.
what you said. And I get it now. I totally get it. And it also explains why available lists post on load boards.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, that totally makes sense. And it also means there are very few load boards.
That's
But I
true.
think there's like 5. Central, Super, Dispatch Center, Carship.io. Those are all load boards.
Correct.
Now,
Run
Auto Hauler
Buggy,
Exchange,
Run
you
Buggy.
say is Run Buggy?
Yeah.
Run Buggy is a load board?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Uh,
I think it's an available list. But
do they only have one shipper, them?
I
Or
think
they're
so.
different
Well,
companies?
You know what? You make a good point. I tell you what. I'm great. We're gonna say it's late. These guys don't know what they're saying. I don't fully understand some of those simple fundamentals about Run Buggy. And I don't know why.
They've also been one that has received a large amount of investment
I know.
to make themselves better.
Well, I know, and yet I don't understand some of the fundamentals, and I don't understand why.
Bring them back on. Let's find out.
I want to. These things are harder than they sound. I'll try. I'll do my best. I want to bring them back, but I am saying I don't fully understand Run Buggy's platform. There, I said it. And that's not what their marketing is about. The clients that they've attained, not the simplicity and the basics of their load board, which I find that interesting. So join Thursday on top whatever load boards on Industry Logistics at noon Central Time. Mark,
Yep.
man, thank you, dude. That
You're
was
welcome.
that was fun. I told you I thought we'd have an interesting discussion, and I really wanted it would just be me and you. It's kind of like a fireside chat / like Oprah Winfrey interview. Right?
Backseat conversation.
Backseat conversation. Oh my, that's
Talking auto logistics.
backseat conversation, man. Yeah, that thumbnail, when I saw it, I was kind of blown away. I was like, wow, that came out really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
That was neat. All right, backseat conversation to be continued.
Got my kid's father or grandfather to confess that his Big Bass picture really isn't
That's right.
his Big Bass.
And it led to the mystery of the Big Bass. Sounds like a Hardy Boys book.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been great. All right, well, keep in touch. Thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
Okay, I appreciate
Happy to do it.
All right, have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bro. See you.
Thanks, buddy. And that's a cut. All right, cool. Thanks everybody. I know, really long show. Haven't done that in a while, although probably last week. Again, I want to thank Mark at SuperFlo Systems for his support, his contribution, and a really good conversation tonight. And we didn't really get into some of the other sectors that I thought we could go into, but I also knew there's no way to do it all in one show. I'll just bring up this graphic again. The graphic that I have, put together: OEM dealer, auction, logistics, remarketing, recon, compliance, and tech. That is the ecosystem as I've identified it, and I created this. I put this together. I've gone through different versions and iterations, but I think that this is pretty much the ecosystem that I talk about, and pretty much touches almost everything. OEM new cars, dealers, new and used cars, auction, that's wholesale inventory, physical and digital, logistics includes brokers, carriers, dispatchers, all of the logistics of transportation and more. Remarketing gets into, that's the disposal, liquidation, and revaluation of a vehicle, whether it goes to auction, gets recon, gets resold, gets repoed. That's remarketing. Recon, so see, this is where it gets tough. It seems like this is a part of remarketing, but recon gets really into parts and maintenance and aftermarket and all the different aspects of bringing a vehicle's value back. Compliance is all the legal stuff. Man, that's the boring stuff, the lawsuits. And then tech overlaps pretty much everything else, because tech is so big, it really is its own vertical. Thank you so much for tuning in, live and on demand. Let me know how I can help. Send me an email. Andre, I got your... Should we share it? Let's just share it. My SEO guy sent me a few ad campaigns. He's running for the other brokers. This is when Mark was talking about leads. There we go. When Mark was talking about leads, what I think that some people get thrown off. What is he talking about? And this is where, if you can make a business out of leads. Leads can be, you're purchasing words, and I don't know a lot about Google AdWords. I just know of it conceptually. I've never used it, but you're paying for clicks, and you're getting into, oh my God, $22,000 to get call only shipping car. I mean, the money that goes into paying for keywords and clicks and search engine optimization, links and ads, and man, it's crazy money. That is, Andre, keep me posted about that. That's fascinating stuff. Then there's buying leads, which is, here, I'll share this. I got turned on to this years ago, because I was like, what is buying leads? And someone told me about autotransportleadsreview.com, the 7 best auto transport leads providers. Now, I think that you have to pay a few $1,000 for a broker training course to understand and learn and find and get this kind of info. But these are the companies, as I've been told, that have those leads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, about 15-ish companies. These are the companies that have the leads. I know I've heard of iAbility Media, LeadFi, maybe iRelo, that if you look at the top of the pyramid of who really has all this stuff, it's these companies. So if you want to learn more about buying leads, and not that explains what this is, but there are different ways to build a business. You also, if you're just moving cars, you don't need a CRM. You need a TMS. Maybe you don't even need a TMS. You need a sticky notepad and a mobile app. But we're talking about these leads and AdWords and CRM and stuff because if you're building a business, then the stuff talked about tonight should in some way matter to you. But if you're just hauling cars as a job, you don't need to know 3/4 of this stuff. You can just move cars and haul cars and get in or get out or, whatever. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. But ATI is here to talk about Auto Logistics Marketplace Q3 2024. That was tonight's show. Thank you so much. Let me know how I can help. And you can let me know. Contact me and do that. It's hard to say goodnight. I appreciate you being here. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.